Now, one of the goals of the show is to highlight the amazing people and events, of course, that happen in the esports and competitive gaming space.
Now, every week on this segment, IRL Esports will try to feature a different personality in the scene at this time. We have a fellow commentator joining us today on the show.
Now, this week will be the CVR World Cup Spring Season Finals. I've been watching some of it, and it's actually freaking rad. An event in Vancouver, Canada, which will showcase people who like to ride bikes and compete against other individuals with like-minded goals. Other people like to ride bikes. For today's segment, we have the CEO of, and apologies, Frank, I'm going to totally botch this, Cycligent Physical Esports. Did I get that right, Frank?
Oh, nice.
Thank you so much. Cycligent, well, welcome. And obviously, you're joining us on the show to talk more about the finals of the spring season that's concluding this weekend.
So very exciting times with regards to that. And all the athletes are arriving, so that's a lot of fun as well.
Absolutely,
So, Frank, who are you? I think we have many a viewer who would like to know a little bit more about yourself.
So I am a video gamer from way back, as in like when Mario was created.
Nice.
So the Wayback Machine there, but video gamer from way back, software engineer turned into software entrepreneur, because back then you couldn't actually earn a living at video games, unlike today. And then what we did was we saw the space expanding. Zwift created a platform, and we said it's time for physical esports, which is the combination of the virtual and the physical worlds.
Oh, wow.
And
cool.
that is absolutely one of the coolest aspects of this. So today we're going to talk about CVR World Cup. First off, what is the CVR World Cup? We know it's about cycling in your home against other people, but fill us in on what this community is all about.
Well, I think it's kind of, like sort of real player one, right? It's people on their own bikes, and they get digitized, if you will, not quite as thoroughly as Tron, but more on that level, and injected into the game. So you see your avatar in the game, but it's your physical aspect. How hard you're going is how hard you go in the game. So if we were to look at something, like Fortnite, rather than moving with your controller, you're actually going to pedal hard in order to move faster, and then you're going to play some of the game dynamics, drafting and whatnot in the game in that manner. So that's the basics of it. So it's the sort of new genre of esports, if you will, where the physical activity is paramount as well. One of the nice things about it is if you sort of go and spectate cycling, the guys whiz by you at 30 miles an hour, and you get to see them for a few seconds. What we get to do is highlight them, have cameras on them the whole time, interview them while they're racing. It's a fun activity.
So I'm going to go off a little bit because you mentioned Ready Player One, which I think a lot of people have actually seen, that particular movie. What does a rig look like for people who are going to compete in an event like this?
So they take their real bike typically, and then the rig that they take their back wheel off, and they hook that up to a machine. Some people have some devices out. You can take your front wheel off, and you'll move up and down as well. So in the game, when the road goes up, you feel that in your legs. The bike might even actually move as well if you buy those particular portions of the rig. And if you go downhill, it gets easier to pedal. If you get behind people, that sort of thing. And it's just a device, usually fairly heavy, that hooks you up and allows you to digitize your power.
Oh, wow.
Digitize your power. Frank, if you don't use that in some regard at some point, I feel like you just wrote your own marketing plan.
Pretty much. I like that a lot.
But let's talk about this weekend, because obviously you mentioned it marks the start of the spring finals for the CVR World Cup in Vancouver. Broadcast on Mixer.com/CVR World World Cup. It cut off. Okay. CVR World Cup starts at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, Saturday and Sunday. What are these riders competing for? And give us a sense of what it means to them to be in this race. These races?
So they compete over 8-week season. It actually extends a little bit to 12 weeks because there's a postseason where they do some head-to-head stuff. But they compete for 8 weeks at home from all over the world. We have 8 global zones across the world. If you win a zone, you get to come to a CVR World Cup in real life event. There's 3 of those a year. This one coming up this weekend is CVR World Cup Vancouver. Basically, they're competing for lots of money. So in the true esports tradition, prize purses are there, and then obviously the glory of being the best in the virtual community, or in this case, the combination of the physical and virtual communities.
Okay. So it looks like you guys have been doing this for a long time, and the circuit seems pretty successful. What should our viewers know about the circuit, and what do you, know about this circuit that you think they should know? Like, what are the hidden nuggets, so to speak?
I think the hidden nuggets are the space is expanding rapidly in terms of physical esports. I think you'll see, in addition to cycling, which you see now, you'll see running and rowing and other types of physical esports joining the genre. And this requires a little bit more equipment, right? Is probably the first thing to note. So there's a little bit more of an investment because you go out and you buy that rig, right? It's not just your controller that you hook up with. So you go out and spend anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on your rig, and then you can get hooked up. You want to check out Zwift.com for more information with regards to that, so you can figure out how to sort of hook up to the game. Great community is one thing to understand. Hardcore. Sort of fervent people within the community, the racing, and it's a little bit different community in that you sort of have your fitness fanatics, I'll call them, right? Everybody's talking about how to eat and, shave a pound here and get a little bit stronger there. So a little bit different vibe in some ways. But we'll talk a little bit later on about that. I think that's one of the things that makes this an interesting space as well.
Okay, so final question. I guess you've already mentioned if you'd like to get the rig yourself and engage that way. How does a spectator get involved in this season? How do they go about doing that?
Yeah.
Well, so I thought we were, talking about the players, and I'm glad you slapped me upside the head there with the
no, this is good.
We're here, which is for people to watch this. But what's great about this is, check this out on Mixer. Mixer.com/CVR World Cup, like you said, and take a look at what's different about this is you're going to see the athletes. They're going to be sweating. They're going to be grimacing.
Yeah.
You're going to see them breathing hard, going incredibly hard next to the game and the avatars as you see them playing. You'll see their avatars. When they stand up and sprint, you'll see their avatars stand up and sprint and that sort of thing. So, really great to watch. It is just a different thing, more connection, I think, with the human, element of it, and a little bit less gameplay than maybe you're used to in, League of Legends or Dota or Rocket or something like that, but much more physical pain, actual physical pain that you'll see. So something to take a look at and watch.
Physical pain makes for good TV, is all I'm saying. I've watched this. It's addictive to watch because Frank's right. Absolutely, you do have these picture-in-picture. You've got some great commentary too, Frank. That has to be mentioned because I can only imagine what it's like to commentate, to cast a bike race, and yet they make it exciting, they make it interesting, and they more importantly translate it because it is actually interesting. And you do see those people picture-in-picture, and you're like, holy God, he's go! It really is addictive.
It does sound like a lot of the same conversations that we have as hosts too, right? Like how do we shed pounds and all that sort of stuff. It's very similar.
Very similar. We're very into fitness.
We are nowhere near as awesome as this. Okay, so our favorite question on the show is if you could tell skeptical people one thing to know about esports or competitive gaming and why they should get into it, what would you say?
Well, this is where it gets a little bit unique. In terms of the physical esports. So first of all, I'd say for esports, do something you love, right? And you can actually, make a living at it. You can get a scholarship now in esports. I know Boise State is offering scholarships, lots of fun, lots of stuff on the collegiate level. Obviously, there's beyond that, they're in broadcasting and streaming. We're all looking to make a living in esports. And so that has changed. And, back from when I did video games and I was just, somebody who was sitting on the couch and being lazy. And that's the other part about physical esports. You actually get exercise, right? You actually get intense exercise, and that becomes beneficial as well. So you get to do something you love, and it's, very beneficial as well.
That's awesome. No, that is really cool. And I like that crossover. I think it's funny because I think, like you said, a lot of that stuff is going to start to show up. It's starting to make a bigger splash there. And it's definitely a way for us to meld and actually bring in audiences that think of that may have a stereotype when they think about gamers, right?
Absolutely.
And taking that fitness part and mixing the two together, and actually in some ways making what we do a little bit healthier.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, Thank you so much, Frank. And if people want to find you and your work and all that sort of stuff, how do they find you? And do you have any special shout outs? Anybody you'd like to give that old rep out to?
So I would say that find us on CVRWorldCup.com, and a special shout out to Chris Haskell and Beth York, who are the people who do the commentating, and Jesper Anker, actually, over from Denmark and the UK and Europe, will be broadcasting as well, commentating as well. So shout out to those guys who do a fantastic job.
Sweet,
Awesome.
sweet, sweet. Well,
Awesome.
Frank, thank you so much, and we'll be tuning in this weekend at the CVR World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
See ya.
See ya.